at the end of February, there was the NAACP Image Awards. And you actually showed me Viola Davis was awarded the Chairman's Award, which is really prestigious. And she came up and gave a phenomenal acceptance speech that was so profound. Like, there was just so many layers to it. And like, I just wanted to go over with you, like, all the layers to it, what it means, like what she tied in. Like, it really just blew my mind.
Yeah, you and me both. I don't know if we can unpack it all in 20 minutes here. We might have to do a second part.
Yeah.
But, you know, first of all, it's Viola Davis.
Right.
So she always brings the heat.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she is. Her craft, her dedication to her craft, and her dedication to the communities that she's a part of. Mm-hmm. She's always fully present when you see her interacting with the cameras.
Yeah.
And this speech, I mean, it was divinely inspired. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to see that she had a divinely inspired speech. She
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. She opens up that speech. First thing she does, she gives thanks to the NAACP. And then what blows me away is because after she gives shows her gratitude towards the NAACP, the very next thing she does is that she's trying to step into the feeling of deserving it. That's the next thing she says. Mm-hmm. So everything after that, she sets the stage to remind you that I am starting this with humility. I'm being humble.
Right.
And then she goes into what I can only, call a queen's speech.
Right.
Which is what a queen, Elizabeth, whether it's one of the Elizabeths, whether it's an African queen or any queen, and I mean a real queen, the way she would speak to her nation. And this is what Viola Davis does. Mm-hmm. She speaks to the nation as a queen.
Yes.
And the way she does it is, first of all, she humbles herself when she says she is still stepping into the feeling of deserving it. And then she goes on to talk about how the nation and the people need to be aware of their soul. Mm-hmm. Like the dark night of the soul.
Yeah. Like healing needs to happen. A person cannot become who they truly are until they face their soul. Mm-hmm. And she said, I say this to the nation and I say this to myself. So she weaves her personal experience through there, which is her credentials. Mm-hmm. She has experienced the lowest points of this society and she has experienced the highest points of this society. Yeah.
And she proceeds to weave that credential through everything she says. And it sounds like she is disciplining a nation.
With love.
With the fact that she humbled herself to begin with. Mm-hmm. But as a nation, you have to face your soul.
Yeah, you have to face, the good and the bad. And as a nation. And we have, many things that we have to reconcile with fully to move forward in a positive direction.
Yeah, she used some very exact language throughout this speech that mm-hmm. has to be listened to several times. Mm-hmm. And it's as though she was either divinely inspired at that moment. It's mm-hmm. possible that she got up there with no idea what she was going to say, and mm-hmm. she was divinely inspired in that moment, mm-hmm. or she was divinely inspired and wrote that speech at 2 or 3 in the morning 2 nights before. Yeah. But either way, the speech is structured so perfectly that it came through as divine inspiration. And it came through as the scolding of a nation, the way she spoke as if she was the queen of America.
Right. And I mean, if you take offense to that, I'm sorry, but that's how she spoke it. Yeah. You know, she tied her personal experience in there. She spoke to the individual. She spoke to the nation or the collective. She said an interesting thing when she said, you are going to look for an abomination, but what you are going to find is God. Right. And I thought that was real important, because if you study spirituality in the way that she has had to, which is real spirituality, not right. dogma, one of the realizations that you come to through the process of self-actualization and self-observation is that everything that happens to you, the very good of what has happened to you as a person and the very bad of what has happened to you, both of these things are in your own best interest. Right. And both of these things are coming from the same source. So when a person goes and he navigates life and these negative things may happen to him or her, and he thinks, oh, this is coming from this bad source, this is the devil. What that does is there's a disconnect for accountability. Right. But when you realize that everything, and it doesn't mean that everything that's bad is happening to you, it's your fault or you're accountable for it. But what it does is it expands your it expands your awareness in a way that you are aware of the negative things that is happening to you, and you are aware to whatever the degree is that which you are participating in those things.
Yeah, there are opportunities for you to expand and grow, and it's there for your benefit.
Absolutely, yeah. You know? And so when she says you, at the end of that search, you're going to be looking for an abomination, but you're going to find God, because that realization on that hero's journey, and you realize you've been fighting these dragons and slaying these dragons, and you're looking for this ultimate dragon or this abomination of horrid things, or this horrid source that's been coming from you. And she says, what you're going to find is God. And that is a very eloquent way, because she gave this thing with such eloquence. Yes. And that's a very eloquent way of saying everything that is happening to you is coming from the same source. And when you put that in perspective, not only does it give you the impetus to fight harder and keep going to realize your goals, it also clears your perspective in a lot of things where accountability is clocked in a way that you can't unsee it.
One of the things she also mentioned when she was kind of in that mode was when you're slaying others or wanting to slay others, you're actually hurting yourself.
Yeah, I was going to go into that next one, because she says when you want to slay others, you end up slaying yourself. That's the process. She doesn't say any of this directly, but what she is alluding to is true spirituality, where your anger and your war, the war that we have, every single man and woman in every single nation, because she ties this into the nation. She ties it into the nation, and everything that we go through as individuals, everything that we go through as a nation, we project it outwards.
Right.
And what she's saying is that is a mirror that's going to turn back inward on you. And you're going to slay yourself, and you're going to be qualified to live the life you want to live. Where she says, well, go back for a minute, when at the very beginning of the speech, where she says at the end of your life, you will be faced with who you are, will face the version of who you could have become.
Right. And that actually, that was the definition of hell, and that absolutely sounds like it.
It is, because the greatest gift, whether we realize it or not, for everybody, the greatest gift we all have is our time here. That's it. It's simply our time. and your rewards come through what you do with that time.
Right.
If you let outside sources hijack your time, then ultimately at the end of your life, you will be held accountable for letting outside sources hijack your time. And that's why she spoke to that force being turned inward.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a phenomenal speech.
Yeah. And one of the things, too, that I wanted to go into was she goes through the hero's journey, because she talks about it personally. I've heard the hero's journey really more through like a writing lens, or
Joseph Campbell.
Yeah, like archetypes and, like creativity to create stories. But I thought it was really interesting how it's with spirituality, it's the same hero's journey, but it's personal, it's spiritual, and I mean, it's really dark, but if you can make it through, the reward is this transcendent life. And I have so many questions. Like, first of all, what is the transcendent life? What is that like pot at the end of the rainbow?
That, that transcendent life would feel like what is happening to you is also happening around you. I give you an example. I don't know if you remember this movie long time ago. It was in the 80s or something. It was called The Never Ending Story.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
And there was this boy, he was reading his favorite book, and the book was about, his name was Atreyu, and the book was about the nothing was coming. And I mean, it is really a metaphor. The movie holds up. You can watch it today and it'll still make sense. It's like The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy, and we can go into that later. But
Right.
The Golden Child, it holds up. And so, but this movie called The Never Ending Story, what's happening is this kid's reading this book, and as he's reading the book and the words on the page, what happens to him is he realizes that everything that's happening in the book is actually happening to him.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the transcendent life feels like. It's kind of like with the hero's journey.
Mm-hmm.
If you read Joseph Campbell and you understand what the hero's journey is, and once you come to full presence and you come to, realization of yourself, you realize as you read through the hero's journey, as you read through Star Wars with Luke Skywalker and see that he's going through the hero's journey, and so many movies and so many stories have mapped out that same journey that Joseph Campbell was talking about, and you look around you and you realize you're actually going through the hero's journey. Mm-hmm. As a person, you feel you are overwhelmed with this sense of transcendence.
Mm-hmm. Can we backtrack a little bit, like, to what exactly is the hero's journey for, anyone who doesn't know, like Joseph Campbell or, anything like that? Because I think I know, because I've heard it a lot going through, talking about story context and timelines and quite a few different things, but just to like really nail it down, what the hero's journey actually is.
So the hero's journey is this concept that Joseph Campbell mapped out. Mm-hmm. And it's a book that a lot of writers and creators own and read this book. Mm-hmm. And one of you can find it in a lot of movies. Almost all movies, you will map out the hero's journey. Mm-hmm. But the easiest one to blueprint it, to show the blueprint, is Star Wars. Well, I don't know if it's the easiest one. It's my favorite because you can still see the hero's journey in Toy Story with
Woody.
With Woody. Woody goes on the hero's journey. Mm-hmm. So many characters go on the hero's journey. And what that is your character is introduced and he's in his normal world. Mm-hmm. Everything is normal. But then a catalyst happens and it is a call for change. And something happens in the hero's journey. In the case of Luke Skywalker, his home is blown up on Tatooine. Then one of the next steps in the hero's journey is a call to duty. And you realize at this point you have a calling. And you have that call of duty may come in various forms, but it's time for you to stand. The call of duty, the call of duty may be an intrinsic moment, but it's a important step on the hero's journey. The next step is the hero is introduced to an unfamiliar world. He is in a new world now, and he has to figure his way out, and he has to come out on top of this world. Now, throughout there's many hills and valleys. There's many encounters. It could be an encounter with a magical character. There could be an encounter with the villain, et cetera, et cetera. But that hero's journey is something that we all go through when we come to the point of self-realization or self-actualization, and we know we have a destiny. So to sum up the hero's journey, to state it succinctly, is when you realize you have a destiny.
Right.
And no matter what it takes, you're going to fulfill that destiny. And the hero's journey is the story of one man or one woman fulfilling his destiny. And Joseph Campbell found this in all stories throughout time, fairy tales, Greek mythology. You can go all the way back to Hercules, and all the mile markers for the hero's journey is in Hercules' story. It's in, go ahead.
I was going to say, just like that explanation and how Viola ties it into her life and how she's gone through the hero's journey and still going through, because it sounds like the hero's journey, it never really ends until you come to the end of your life.
Yeah, it doesn't really end. Like Da Vinci said, on his 70th birthday, I realized I'm still learning.
Right.
And that's what, this is Da Vinci. It's his 70th birthday. But, I like that how she braids this through there, and she gives her credentials, because when she says, states in the 1960s, just, a big-nosed little girl, I think she says, and she is surrounded by poverty. She didn't have dreams and hopes. All she knew is that she wanted to be somebody.
Right.
And, she has experienced American society at the lowest of the low and the highest of the high, and she uses that as her credentials to discipline a nation like a queen, that you have to be. America has to start being aware of its soul. It has to hold itself accountable. It has to face its past. And then she sums this all up, by hitting the ball out of the park she speaks to what a lot of us would consider the lower elements of society, the people who do the jobs that we don't want to do.
Right.
That's what she says. And to drive that point home, she names off people.
She names off people and even mentions to her personal circumstance with her mom, who's advanced dementia, who, having a grandparent who had dementia, that's incredibly hard.
And that whole sequence right there, what it reminded me of is in medieval times and throughout history, when the queen would come out on Thursdays and she would pay alms to the poor. She would give the poor alms, and she would, so that they would know you are still thought about. Your queen is here to give you alms.
Yeah.
And, God is thinking about you. She would give, they would give money alms to the poor and the sick and the wretched. Yeah. And she speaks directly to those elements of society that take care of the things that we don't want to do.
Right.
And they are extremely an important component to the functionality of a society.
Yeah.
You know, and then she ends it with, you know, I see you. I can't separate her behavior and her speech and her eloquence and demeanor and the surgical precision and word economy of that speech from that of a queen.
Absolutely. It was, it felt so profound.
Yeah.
Like, it just blew me away. More people need to hear it. It just needs to be spread.
And it's Viola Davis, man. She just never disappoints.
Right.
You know, she's like your favorite aunt.
Right.
You know, you just feel this, you know, visceral, you know, connection to her. That what she says, it's almost like she's speaking directly to you. I never met her, and I'm in love with her.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, she's got an amazing story. She's got an amazing like aura about herself and how she comports herself and how she, whenever she speaks in public, I just, anytime I can see her, you know, act or, you know, make an appearance, I want to see it. I want to be there.
Yeah, there's like this intention and there's an intention and there's a purpose to how she approaches her craft.
Yeah.
You know, she does it. She does it for herself, and then she does it for everybody else. Yeah. Like, she still carries around with her the experience of that girlhood experience, mm-hmm. and that limitation and that desire that she had as a little girl, mm-hmm. and the success and the presence of mind that she has as an extremely successful African-American woman and an American. She carries that with her, and she projects out into this world that she cares about it.
Well, I'll make sure I have the link to this speech in the description, and I should definitely be checking.